Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news, discussion, and of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon's works and the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
Hey, I'm Windrunner.
Also joining me is Ben.
Oh, am I supposed to? Hey guys, I didn't realize I was supposed to be on a podcast today. Never mind.
Yeah, we definitely didn't spend the last hour and a half getting you set up for this. Yeah. Also joining me is David.
Hi, I'm Windrunner. I overcame at least 2 different sets of technical difficulties to be here today.
That's true, and
but
a hat.
I made it. Well, you can't win everything, apparently.
Put the hat back on.
You should comment below and say, free David's hat. Okay? Free David's hat.
It's doing just fine.
Down below. Also joining us is someone who's in a well, and her name's Grace. How you doing? How's the well?
Hi, I'm thegatorgirl, and today we're playing Guess Where I'm Recording This Week.
I realize it's echoey, I'm sorry. But that's fine.
She'll be in a shipping container next week. It'll be way better.
Where will Grace be shipped to? Somewhere with good internet, maybe? I mean, your internet's great. You're at least not a robot. So, you know what? I'll take it. This week, we got a bunch of stuff. Well, or at least in our past 2 weeks, because now Shardcast is every other week. But we got some really exciting Stormlight 4 stuff. So if you don't like hearing about Stormlight 4 at all, this is probably not the podcast for you. We have a reading from Stormlight 4 that Brandon did at DragonCon, and we got Stormlight 4 update number 5, which has some pretty cool stuff. And we're gonna do some speculation. We're gonna analyze this reading, which is crazy. Well, sometimes
it could be eventually.
A part of it is. And then we're gonna just go along like that, and that should get us to 90 minutes. So yeah, so we got plenty to talk about. We're gonna talk about the reading. This was a reading of the prologue of Stormlight 4. Yeah. Woo! And it's Navani.
Good.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be Navani.
Yeah. And, well, for the most part, it's not terribly interesting because it's Navani going through the party Navaniing.
Yep.
Which is fine.
It's got a bit of Aesidon in there. It's got a bit of Gavilar in there. I really like this Gavilar guy. I hope nothing bad happens to him.
Do you like this Gavilar guy given this chapter?
Should we get into the chapter, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. Navani's Navaniing. We get to see Aesidon, and Aesidon is... I don't know how much there is to talk about Aesidon in this, but... I mean, I guess Yasna was preparing to kill Aesidon this evening, so, like, that's...
So Navani likes her more. Yeah.
Yasna hired an assassin to watch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. To watch Aesidon.
I actually think, for me... the Aesidon bit was like the second best part of the prologue.
Oh, absolutely.
I would agree.
Yeah, yeah. Navaniing, I wouldn't say is terribly interesting. Although I will say, Gavilar and Navani's relationship sounds awful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can someone give this poor woman like a competent assistant?
I know.
Yeah, like why is she doing all that? Yeah, I don't know.
She had Ratham, I think was the artist's name, you know? Good old Ratham.
Not to be confused with Wraithen.
I was hoping it was Wraithen because that would have been great.
Hello.
Oh, man.
Hello, Lady Navani.
Like, we are out of wine.
Have you seen Sereni? I'm looking for Sereni.
I'm also at the Gavilar's party. I'm doing something totally different than what's happening here. No, but it's
I'm not gonna lie. When the house steward turned up and they were having rings, I'm like, is it a terraceman? I'm like, a house steward with rings?
I would not put it past Brandon.
Yeah.
That he knows how we would react to that thing.
Yeah, because he mentions the rings twice. Because he mentioned he was wearing rings and then they were playing with rings.
The cook said, so the cook went out.
Confirmed.
Before the man was even out of the door, however, Navani spotted the house steward, a white bearded man who had too many rings on his fingers, standing in the stairwell up to the palace proper. He was fidgeting with the rings on his hands. I mean, Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not saying it's definitely terraceman,
A
but
steward with rings? What does that remind me of? Yeah. But Aesidon's interesting. She's like very cheerful, which is kind of weird.
Is she cheerful?
Well, it's like
I take it as passive aggressive.
yeah.
I'd say she's being pretty cheerful. She's just doing that. You know, when you go to a party and you don't really know a lot of people there.
No, I can't read. That's fine. Yeah. Aesidon's general sourness. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like she's not evil.
Cheerful for her.
Yeah. Cheerful for her.
Yeah.
It's like
there are like elements of like this is not a good person in there though.
Yes.
And Navani's like, oh, it's a good family, but
Okay, that's actually what kind of interested me because they mentioned her Aesidon's family, and they mentioned Navani being from a good family, and we have not heard anything about either of their families.
No, they're all dead, just like other relatives in Brandon books.
Like, it was just interesting to me.
Yeah,
I was like, I wonder if that. I know people have talked about Aesidon being like related to important people potentially, like Thedacar or whatever, but.
Oh, I have some spicy takes about Thedacar and Rasteras later. Don't worry.
Okay.
There is this mention of, or Navani's opinion of Aesidon is like when the girl was so obviously lacking in talents.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
The impression I had always gotten was like she was much more capable than Elokar.
That's a pretty low bar.
Elokar
like can make a decision. They're like, well, she's pretty.
Well, I mean, it's probably also like relative to people in their family. It's like, there's Yasna there, and everyone else seems kind of lame by comparison. Oh no, so Aesidon saw Navani, smiled brightly. The joy seemed genuine, which was unusual. But Aesidon's usually sour, but this time her joy was genuine.
Yeah.
Just interesting not to see Aesidon being purely evil. So I would like to see more of Aesidon and more of how that progressed.
I also liked the element where she's got like gaudy gems
lots
in
of
her
gemstones in her hair. Yeah, that was cool.
I do like the fashion stuff. There's some pretty cool stuff in there.
I kind of forget that they would put gemstones in their hair, but that like totally makes sense.
Yeah. Aesidon kind of annoyed me because she took away. Like, Navani wanted to talk to the Artifabrian guy. And then she's like, no, you are my escape from this Artifabrian guy that you obviously find interesting, but I think is boring. Yep. No, let Navani be an Artifabrian.
See, maybe that's why I took it as, like, not liking Aesidon, because I took that as, Aesidon, if she's not a complete moron, knows Navani wants to talk to this guy and is like, oh, come with me. We can leave this guy behind.
I read it as that as well. Yeah.
That was my take on it.
Aesidon putting stuff in the spheres and bonding things, like, I mean, maybe Aesidon wants to talk with the Artifabrians and wants to avoid Navani getting there. But I mean,
that was my question was, Gavilar and all his weird stuff with Spren and gemstones, like, why is that why that Artifabrian is there?
Yeah,
because he has something to speak to him about.
I think so.
I hadn't thought of
that. Should we get to the exciting part with Gavilar?
So let's talk more about the walk between.
Yeah. Okay, all right. They're walking. Wow, very exciting.
They had to move the dinner upstairs.
Yeah.
Apparently those drums are huge.
Navani is like picking up a lot of slack from Gavilar, where like he's no job.
Yeah,
as king.
I was talking with Jess last night, and she was like, "How long has Gavilar retired on this feast? Like he's been retired for like hours in one of the other prologues. He retired a long time ago." And
well, I think this is before.
Oh, it is. It is. I agree. But like, he's retired already in this one, so
he's already left the party before the party's even started.
Like, the party hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this, there's these uncommon visitors that Gavilar has. We'll talk about those. And so let's just read two important passages. Navani like goes in and like sees into the study. Being able to bring them back and forth from Braze doesn't mean anything, Gavilar, one of them said. It's too close to be a relevant distance. It was impossible just a few short years ago, said a deep, powerful voice, his. This is proof. The connection is not severed, but can be warped to allow for travel. Not yet, as far as you like, but we must start the journey somehow. Also, these are these uncommon guests, and the king was speaking with two men that Navani vaguely recognized. Ambassadors from the West were what they'd been called, but no kingdom had been given for their home. They were simply among Gavilar's uncommon visitors. And that's where it ends. And you know when ambassadors from the West is mentioned before?
Nale, right?
Yeah. And probably
Kalak, whoever it is, or whoever
It's
that
gotta be
guy's with
Kalak.
him.
Yeah, because Yasna mentions them as ambassadors from the West.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that in Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, I believe they are explicitly described as Elukar's guests.
Maybe.
Or maybe they
I've read those.
to Elukar, but I think
they definitely spoke to Elukar in Seth's prologue for sure. Like Seth sees them speaking to Elukar.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, so we are saying that these two people he's talking to are Kalak and Nail.
Most likely.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Yasna referred to them as ambassadors from the West.
Yeah. And I mean, Yasna, if they had a country, Yasna would know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. In the Words of Radiance prologue, the two passed through the intersection ahead of Yasna. They were ambassadors from the West, including the Azish man with the white birthmark on his cheek. Or was it a scar? The shorter of the two men, he could have been Alethi, cut off when he noticed Yasna. So it's like, oh, okay. Like,
I don't know if it's the same guys, because they're in Alethkar. Everywhere's west.
Yeah, but like...
They're just not Natana.
There's a lot of heralds at this, and like, I would...
Yeah.
Gavilar knows a lot, and so it does...
Also, it's not like this is being written as a story. Like Brandon would know that referring to these people as ambassadors from the West.
Let's know it's the same. Yeah.
I will say though that it does seem to be contrary to what we know about Nail's motivations at this time, because he definitely seemed to still be trying to keep the Voidbringers out, and that does not seem like what Gavilar was interested in doing.
Like, okay, so are we good for the assumption for this next little bit that these are probably Nail and Kalak? These ambassadors.
I'm okay with it, but yeah.
Like they would know about Braze, so like that makes sense. But like,
yeah.
What the crap are the Herald? Yeah, what are they doing here? And so being able to bring them back and forth from Braze doesn't mean anything, Gavilar. It's too close to be a relevant distance. Well, like, what
is them? Is always my question there. Is it the spheres? Is it the fused? Like,
it's gotta.
Is it the Void Spren? Or just all of that?
I've been thinking it's the black spheres. But I didn't think it was to begin with. Just from this conversation that we're having just now, I'm like, okay, if it's those two, if it's Nail and Kalak, then they would have knowledge of things on Brace.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking they would. That's not the bit. That's what they're bringing back and forth is not the important thing to me.
That is such an important part.
No, the important thing to me is when they say that's too close to be a relevant distance. Apparently going from Roshar and Braze is too close of a distance to be relevant to what they're trying to do. What are they trying to do?
Yeah, like, what else are you trying to do other than, like, we know the Sons of Honor are trying to bring the Voidbringers back, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point.
This can't be that goal. This must be a different goal.
Yeah,
also,
where are they trying to go?
I agree that it's of larger importance, yes.
You know what's weird? If the plan of the Sons of Honor is to bring the Voidbringers back to get the Heralds back, and does Gavilar know that these are Heralds, or are they just like other people that Gavilar doesn't quite know that they're Heralds? Because that's weird if you think about, yes, hey people, let me ask you how to bring the Voidbringers back to bring back the Heralds, and they're like, actually, we're Heralds.
He may well not know. Also relevant, because Amaram, as part of what Odium did to turn him, was show him what the Heralds had been up to, and they'd been here all along. So if Gavilar didn't, if Amaram didn't know, I feel like Gavilar probably didn't know.
What if Gavilar was not only a member of the Sons of Honor? What if he was a member of another secret organization?
He was a mole. From what?
Not necessarily a mole, but he kept his options open.
I feel like either you believe what the Sons of Honor believe completely, or you realize that they are morons, and like they're like, and either and like you are like you're either in their group and you're like, I'm pretending to help them, these dumbasses, or you're like, I believe that we will bring the heralds back.
I have a hot take. What if Resteras is Nail or Kalak?
Ooh, I like him as Kalak. Ooh,
Because we've never seen
which one
Resteras on
is-
screen.
In what context is Resteras? Is he the one who advised Amram to brand Kaladin?
Yes,
Or
and
okay.
yes, exactly. Resteras is mentioned very few times, presumably like or the leader of the Sons of Honor, because Gavilar
Okay.
isn't the leader of the Sons of Honor. That's important to
Mhm.
remember. He just expanded their ranks a lot,
Yeah,
and
good guy.
so Amram realized that Resteras is right, and that this is the best choice, and so then took the shards from Kaladin, and then Gavilar thought that Resteras might have killed him. That's the
or
other guess.
Thydakar.
Or
Yeah.
Thydakar.
Thydakar is a ghost blood.
It's a
person.
ghost blood.
He's
I always mix those two up.
Thydakar is the like a leader of the ghost bloods, or the leader of the ghost bloods. It's or something like that.
See, it's
Oh,
Gavilar's
It's
membership.
Kelsier.
Shut up! You're fired.
It's Gavilar's membership in the Sons of Honor, which is why I'm kind of against this idea that this is Kalak and Nail. I
agree. It's
Nail's
really weird, but like
pretty open. Like Nail doesn't really hide who he is, as far as I'm aware. If you get in a conversation with him, he's like, "Yeah, my name's Nail. I'm like the herald of the Skybreakers.
Yeah,
What's up?"
well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
here
know
to
if he
kill
does
you.
that all the
Yeah.
time. Like he does that to like Zeth, but if when he's getting
Yeah.
his writs for execution, I don't think he goes like, "Hello, I am Nail, sun god. I would like this writ to go murder a bunch of people." Okay, thanks. I don't think he
think, like,
does that.
They don't really give him a chance to he doesn't try to blend in very much. Like he shows up and they're like, "When did we start giving police officers shard blades? And what uniform is that?" And then just
Why
arrest
can he
people.
fly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
kind of a
going
tangent.
back to the question of are either Nale or Kalak Resteras, I don't think so,
Yeah.
because Nail doesn't really make sense as Resteras because he already has a secret organization.
Why would he be advising Amaram? Right? Like,
Yeah.
it does
And
seem weird.
Kalak, I don't think he has the self-confidence at this
Yeah,
point in time to do that.
That's true. It's just I'm just thinking about Ishar being Tezim and that like all the heralds could be doing all sorts of weird stuff. Like it's possible, but I don't know if I like it being either of them, but I think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Just like based on what we see of Kalak in the Prelude and what we see of presumably Kalak in
Words of
the Words of Radiance, like he's very like
timid.
timid. And
he's not
just,
like an off with his head type guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When do we see Kalak in Words of Radiance?
He talks
Prologue.
about being worried
Prologue.
about Ash in the prologue.
Okay.
It's like we're getting worse. Am I getting worse? We weren't supposed to be getting worse. Like that's just like very like.
It basically has to be Kalak because it's not Nail because he's talking to Nail. It's not Yezrian because Yezrian's getting drunk and is super crazy. It's not Town and it's not. Presumably, it's not Ishar. Like, I mean,
it could be the man who calls himself Town though.
Shut up! Get out of here.
Right, so how do we kick David from the call?
I like how like if you weren't in the fandom around that time pre Oathbringer, that joke just doesn't land at all. Like that's my favorite part of that.
Do we know that Arrestorus is a male?
I don't think we do necessarily.
Let me see. Great question.
An excellent question.
I want to say they have been referred to as a he, but they have not appeared on screen. So,
okay. There's a few other Resteras. So there's nothing mentioning Resteras' gender for one. Mraze knows of Resteras and refers of the Sons of Honor as Resteras' cronies. Hilarious. And Amaram writes to Resteras at the end of Words of Radiance that they were successful.
Oh yeah, when he almost gets killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is funny because I wrote the Restairs article on the Coppermind and I forgot these other instances of it. But, whatever.
So I think that's further evidence that Restairs is not a herald. If Mraize knows of Restairs.
That's true.
That's true.
Mraize is pretty plugged in on who's a herald. Well, I guess he didn't know about Tessim, though. He didn't know Tessim was Ishar.
Oh, that's true. He didn't.
Did he not?
He said that he wasn't sure it was human, but he called it that creature.
That Ishar was Tessim. Yeah.
Yeah. That may have been like a lack of intelligence on his part. Like he just didn't have information.
And that doesn't mean that the Ghostbloods didn't know that, Tessim was Ishar, but Mraize personally didn't know that.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like I always like think about Mraize as being the leader, and I'm like, he's not even the leader of the Ghostbloods.
No, he's not at all.
Like,
yeah, he's important, but not the leader at all. Yeah, you're right. This is so weird if they are heralds and they're talking about, but I think they have to be. Like, they're the ambassadors from the West.
I think that he's talking to heralds. I don't think he knows who they are.
Yeah, that's the only way it makes sense, right?
So they're trying to get information from him rather than he's trying to get information from them.
Could be.
I mean, it's probably mutual.
Settling and they're looking into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would expect Nail to look into someone the Stormfather is trying to bond.
Yeah.
Right.
That's actually an interesting question. Why Nail didn't try to kill Gavilar?
Well, actually, David, I think you might know the answer to this question, but I can't remember when Nail started murdering all those Surgebinders. That's the question.
He's been doing it for a long time, was my understanding. Like, since the Radiants quit, he's been preventing them from coming back.
Like,
There was Skybreaker involvement with Shallan's childhood, at least.
Oh, so, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Which I think was about the same time as this.
Yeah.
And getting killed.
And Nail is, like, asked in Edge Dancer about the return, because there's that...
I reread that, yeah.
Yeah, shouldn't we be welcoming these? And he's like, I used to think like that, but now Ishar has shown me the truth. So,
I guess last night I was thinking maybe Ishar's stupid plan of murdering Surgebinders happened after Gavilar's assassination somehow. But I did think that Nail's plan of murdering Surgebinders was more long-term, but I couldn't find what gave me that.
I think it might be the letter that Shallan receives that has information about Helleron and Oathbringer might indicate that they've been active for a little longer. That's in my head where that information would come from.
I previously remembered thinking that Nail's quest, like him rejoining the Skybreakers, happened. They didn't start immediately after the Recreants. It was recent, as in it was in the last 100 years. I think I got that impression, but I can't remember why.
I don't think he was there immediately, but I definitely agree that it was not incredibly recently that it began. Like, I think it was at the very least decades that he's been doing this.
In the letter, it says, referring to Nail, he has spent the last 2 decades, perhaps much longer, dealing with anyone close to bonding his friend. Okay, great. I just couldn't remember where it was, because literally last night, I'm talking with Jess. She's rereading every prologue, and we're trying to figure out what the crap's going on with this. And we just couldn't remember. Great. Okay, so that doesn't make sense. So that means Nail is on this quest to prevent any chance of the Voidbringers returning was unacceptable to Nail and Ishar. Like that was his whole thing in Edge Dancer, right? So what is he bringing back and forth from Braze? And it's too close to be a relevant distance. So if they're bringing it back and forth from Braze, like Braze to Roshar, then
yeah, I think it must be.
That's how I interpret it. Is they're moving something back and forth between Braze and Roshar.
So,
definitely.
My thought on this is that somehow whatever they're bringing back and forth is bound through connection to Roshar or the Rosharan system in general, because they can get to Braze. And maybe they're whatever it is they're trying to leave the system. Because, cognitive shadows, like Kelsier, for example, has that problem of he can't go past Scadrial.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, that connection part, when Gavilar says the connection is not severed but can be warped to allow for travel, that sounds like Oath Pact to me.
I was thinking the same thing.
The Oath Pact's not broken, it's just really bad right now, right?
For some reason, like, and like this is kind of just like a irrational thought. Like when I read that passage, my mind went to whatever mechanism the heralds use when they return between Braze and Rashar.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
In some way, they are manipulating that specific mechanism to do something.
Yes.
But that's probably part of the Oath Pact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was just getting more specific there.
Yeah,
I'm not disputing it was part of it.
Sure. I also like how Gavilar's like, the journey must start somewhere, because he's getting the stuff from the Stormfather, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
He's just interpreting it real different from Dalinar.
In my head, I'm just like, so where is the destination?
Where is the destination? And is he trying to like move the heralds back from Braze? Like, this just doesn't make sense with Gavilar having black spheres, and Gavilar persuades Eshonai that, like, oh yeah, I can totally bring the Voidbringers back. And why would the heralds be helping with that?
One thing that might indicate that he knows that these are heralds is the connection is severed but can be warped to allow for travel. Not yet as far as you'd like. Not as far as we'd like.
Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting.
My initial thought, like reading this and also kind of as with our talking, is maybe these heralds want to leave Roshar and they're they're using Gavilar and whatever these tests are to try and, like, whatever the connection is, like, stretch it far enough that they can just, like, run to Silverlighter.
I know what? From this conversation, I was having very similar thoughts that this is someone trapped on Roshar trying to leave. And I was actually going to say maybe this is another reason why, because I'm still not down for the Herald's idea. I'm still not down with the Herald's idea. But then I'm thinking, oh man, who would be trapped on Roshar? But the Heralds. So yeah, that is a very good point.
That's true. But like, so who's they in this case? Like, the Heralds aren't walking back and forth from Braze to do this test that Gavilar is trying, right?
I assumed not.
Like, it can't. The Heralds would never intentionally go back to Braze. That's the whole point.
No.
Yeah. No, I feel like they would be afraid that would actually mess something up, you know,
Absolutely,
if they actually went back.
Right, yeah, that would be really bad.
Maybe Spren of some sort is the only thing I can think of.
Like the Void Spren, that seems like the only reasonable thing, right?
Ullum got back somehow. Like, he made it from Braze to Rashar in some way and started speaking to Venli, not a long time different from when this time period is happening.
Oh, we're gonna talk about this when we get to the Stormlight 4 update, because we gotta talk about some Venli stuff.
I did see some like theorizing that it might be the black spheres.
Like the spheres themselves?
Somehow the spheres are getting transported. They're getting infused with void light on Braze and they're bringing them back. I don't know.
Or if they're using that connection, you know how you draw a spren into a sphere? They're using that connection to draw a void spren through the connection into a sphere. Because that would be then why Gavilar's like, hey, here's one of your gods. To Eshonai.
There is being able to bring them back and forth implies two-way travel.
Oh yeah, it does. And like, why would the Heralds think that like bringing Void Spren back and forth would help them leave the Rasharan system? If we go with that theory,
okay, in my head, like, this is how like I was thinking about it. Like, maybe it doesn't make sense with Nail's motivation, or who knows, he's crazy. But Heralds want to leave. They're trading some of their knowledge that they have without maybe necessarily saying what they like, why they know, with Gavilar in exchange for him to complete his purposes, and they can use this two-way travel to eventually get out of there. So that is their like trade-off they're doing. And wait, what was the initial question? I kind of lost that actually.
Why back and forth, and why would the Heralds?
Why would the Heralds care about Void Spren? Moving Void Spren back and forth.
Well, maybe they just don't. Well, do you think they care specifically, or they just care because that's like a test case? They are not dissimilar to Spren themselves. So
yeah, this is what's happening in this conversation is Gavilar is saying, sorry, we can't do what you're doing, what you want, but this is what we've managed to do. So the Heralds don't want what Gavilar is doing. Gavilar is just using this. Hey, this is the progress.
They're not really interested in his results.
Yeah.
Do you have any like thoughts on what it is if it's not the Heralds? since you're still in that camp, or is it?
Oh,
still kind of
I
wide open?
assumed it was other Sons of Honor. I assumed it was the people in the room when Esh and I went looking for them. There was 3 people in the room. There
were Amaram.
Amaram.
At least one woman.
At least
Yes.
one woman. I think there might have been 2. I believe there was. We think there's one of the diagram people was in there.
Oh, there was an old guy people thought might be Teravangian. But
Yeah.
Yeah. He got
So I thought maybe it was
Teravangian into this. Oh God.
Oh yeah, because he did speak to Gavilar the night he died. He said,
Oh God.
Yeah.
There were, I want to say there was an old man, 2 soldiers, one of which was Amaram, and then 2 women, I think.
"That
Yeah.
sounds
I think
right."
there were 5.
Yeah. So I guess it can't be. Both of them can't be the people in those rooms because that leaves just one of the soldiers on the thing.
To be fair, like this could have just happened before Esh and I got there, and the heralds don't need to still be there.
Oh, this is
right?
this
Like,
is
it's
out. Oh
way-
yeah, because Esh and I's prologue was before the party as well because they're setting up the drums, aren't
Yeah.
they? So okay.
God, I feel like when we get book 5's prologue, where we get a Gavilar viewpoint and to like figure out what's actually going on, that is going to be such a long prologue.
Yeah,
It's
we're
gonna
gonna
be
get
huge,
it's a busy night for Gavilar.
like, is it going to just be like a 5 times as long prologue because we have to go through? It's like, okay, I had this meeting, then this meeting, then this meeting. Oh, then the whole fight where I died.
Yeah,
At some point, I attended a party. You know,
Well, let's just skip the party part.
the most important part though is will the party that he attends be in the high room or the lower room?
Wow.
Because Navani was.
we'll find out. We'll find out in Stormlight
We'll
5.
find out.
We will. And I guess there must be secrets. Just like,
say
What a
that
kill. Yeah.
I don't see why, if he trapped a void spren in a black sphere, why that would spook Esh and I so much. But I mean, we kind of skipped a part.
Esh and I was raised being told that her gods are the worst things ever, and then Gavilar's like, "Hey, I have one of your gods."
Yeah, but
Yay,
like,
right?
that
Pretty
wasn't a
freaky.
god. But that wasn't really a god.
Oh, it wasn't really, but
No.
Esh and I doesn't know that. Gavilar doesn't know that.
She just she said there was a dark light associated with the gods in their stories, and that's what she recognized in those spheres.
Oh,
he
right,
didn't even
right.
have a void spren with him. He just had a regular spren in that gemstone, presumably.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts on this?
So I just want to read this 2 sentences from Navani's. And there was Dalinar standing tall, somehow taller than any man in the room, but with those haunted eyes simmering with passion. She's
Oh my
definitely in love with him at this point.
I do, as much as I didn't find Navaniing terribly interesting in this prologue.
Oh, I loved it.
I know you would love it. But we didn't get a lot of Navani and Gavilar in the Dalinar flashbacks. Like, that's like a criminally underdone thing. And so, like, getting more Navani during that time period with Gavilar, like, and seeing what that's like is important. And so I did like that.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited for some of these flashbacks. I'm hoping we'll see like Yasna and Elhokar is another relationship that didn't really get very much screen time, and it'd be nice to see some more flashbacks with that.
Also, this prologue isn't done. Like, he didn't read the whole thing. So, like, there could be like other massive bombs later in it.
And this isn't even the final version of this. So it's like
No.
the minor wording things we've
Yes.
discussed could entirely change.
This
that's
was
true.
going to be my final point was all of this is subject to change, and we might be
Absolutely.
obsessing over
Yeah.
words that will completely change by the final draft. You know.
Does anyone have any guesses for the title of the prologue? They want-
Ooh.
To be annoyed at Aecidon.
No.
No, I think
It was to kill, to question, and
To weep, I
to
think.
weep.
grieve.
Ooh, oh, because we do have to see Navani's reaction to Gavilar's death. That would actually be very interesting, right? Because we get to see, like, is she really that sad Gavilar's dead? If
Yeah.
she's-
That'd be interesting. It would go like later than most prologues that we've seen too.
Yeah. I'm actually a lot more exciting knowing where this is going with like the Navani character stuff, because it just being cut off, I'm like, I wasn't ultra into that.
Yeah.
But now I'm pretty stoked that there's some exciting character stuff for her.
Yeah. that we've come up with our own reasons to be excited about stuff we haven't seen yet.
I will say, just reading anything, I'm so excited.
Hopefully she'll find time at the party to talk to that Master Artifabrian guy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I mean, we're getting close to Murder City, so not
that
quite
could be what she's doing when it all goes down.
So you hear
That's true.
screaming.
She finally gets to talk to him, and just as they start talking, it's
Then
like,
the
hey,
fight
why is that
happens.
white guy flying around? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you seeing this? Like,
this is crazy. Okay, let's talk about Stormlight for update number 5. Brandon is I don't really think he's gonna hit the end of the first draft by January 1.
he keeps making progress and then losing it. So I feel like it's
he's
just kind of.
been doing a lot of touring. Like he's going to
like.
He went to
rightfully
France and
so.
Spain, and then he's going to France and Israel in October, and then there's the Starsight tour. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I think if Brandon was just writing, Brandon would hit that target, but I think he's got a lot going on.
I think Brandon does a lot less writing than he only really writes 4 days a week because he has.
He's been pretty consistently a month behind in all of the updates.
Yeah,
because I just reread all of them in a row yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, like in all of them, he's a month behind. So
it does seem like spring 2021 seems like a much safer bet.
When he kept giving it's either going to be this time in 2020 or this time 2021, I always kind of assumed it would be the 2021 because we've got a whole year of writing. Well, 6 months of writing left, basically, or more. And we've got like a whole year of the rewrites, and that's really where the book comes together. So that period of time, I don't mind it taking a little extra time.
I mean, like, and this is all assuming that the writing goes well and the book comes together.
True.
Like, if it doesn't come together, like, Brandon spent a whole month on Starsight. If this book doesn't come together, he's going to need to spend a lot more than a month.
That's a good point.
But he did say part 1 in the last Stormlight update turned out really good, like how he wanted it. And I'm glad because just thinking about what could possibly happen in Stormlight 4 hurts my brain. So I'm glad Brandon has a plan. I'm so glad.
Because there's also every time he does something in Stormlight 4, he has to consider how it affects Stormlight 5. Because he says once you're at 5, he has to.
That's the end of the first arc.
That's the end of this arc. He needs to have things wrapped up, so he needs Stormlight 4 to be there.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I would say there are 2 very exciting things in this that we're going to talk about. So one of the big things is that Brandon is no longer sure if Eshonai is gonna get flashbacks because he thinks that though maybe people are interested in Eshonai as a character and that Brandon likes that Eshonai would be the flashback but Venli the main character, he's a little worried that they're going to feel too much like fluff and that Venli, if he did Venli instead, then that will have more Cosmere mysteries and things like that.
That's like an impossible choice because I'm like Cosmere mysteries, but Venli like grew on me in Stormlight 3, but like early Words of Radiance interlude Venli was not my favorite character.
Like Venli is the one who knew the secrets happening behind the scenes among the listeners at the time. Discuss.
I have opinions.
Yeah, what do you got, Ben?
Okay. I'm not just saying this because I'm not a big fan of Venli. But I hope he doesn't switch it to Venli.
Why is that?
Because whilst I do like myself some Cosmere explanations and Cosmere mysteries, if Bands of Mourning has taught me anything, because I read Bands of Mourning and Shadows of Self at the same, basically back to back, and I far preferred Shadows of Self. And I felt Bands of Mourning suffered because there was a lot of that Cosmere explanation stuff, and there wasn't as much character stuff in there. And so I kind of am okay with getting less Cosmere mysteries if we get a bit more of an interesting character, and I found Eshonai to be a much more interesting character than Venli, especially since this is going to be Venli during her phase. You know,
presumably there would be a little more depth, and you just haven't seen that.
Maybe. I also don't like Venli as a character, and I also like Eshonai far more as a character. So that definitely has an effect on it, but I'm okay with getting less Cosmere answers, like 30 years before the end of the Cosmere. I'm okay for now.
I will agree that I hope that it is Eshonai, if only because Venli is still alive and we can get any Cosmere mysteries and like secret information like by her present day self reflecting on the past.
That is true.
I don't know. Ben might have just convinced me that I want to see Venli because I liked Bands of Mourning a lot more than I like Shadows of Self.
I mean, I like Shadows of Self better, but I didn't think Bands suffered. I just think that they're very different books.
Oh yeah, I didn't dislike either, but it was Indiana Jones on Scadrial, so that was like what I'd been waiting for.
I mean,
but,
yeah, like they're just very different books. Yeah.
Yeah, but like back on topic, I feel like Brandon, like, we know that Brandon kind of like moves things around, and like there was a draft where Seth died at the end of Words of Radiance for real, and like, he kind of changes when things happen. I think Brandon thought that Eshonai was going to live longer than she ended up living. Yeah. And so the flashbacks made more sense when Eshonai lived longer than a book and a half, and now like looking back, it might not make as much sense in his plan. So I think if he doesn't really like, it'd be easier to make it interesting with Venli flashback. So it's probably a safer bet than trying to like make Eshonai interesting. I do hope we see like some of the singers like start moving towards wanting the gods to come back, because I still kind of felt like that flip came a little bit out of nowhere based on what Eshonai was saying, when she seemed to feel like everyone was universally afraid of the gods, and they were all like, yeah, let's just take on Stormform and go for it. But
Grace, what do you think?
So in this most recent update, Brandon did say that he's going to write both of them and then see what worked. So I'm just hoping, I don't have a strong preference of what is in the book. I just hope that in some form we do get to read both of them.
Ooh, that would be cool.
You could throw one out, like a novella, if you wanted to.
He did say, someone commented asking about like doing some kind of more self-contained Eshonai novella with the ones, and he did say that is plausible, but he just has to toy with it and see what works once it's all like done being written.
Yeah, I mean, if it's bad, he's not going to publish it. And if he's like, "Oh, this is boring,"
yeah. I do think Eshonai would work better as a standalone novella than Venli's flashbacks.
Yeah, right. You can't do Venli's flashbacks as a standalone novella.
Yeah, though I also believe he commented on the possibility of having both flashbacks in the book.
That would
like
be cool.
That idea a lot. Yeah.
Both flashbacks.
Like you could have some flashbacks of Eshonai and some of Venli, and you kind of
you said
mix
oath,
them.
and I was like, were they swearing oaths back then?
So the thing that I worry about with Eshonai flashbacks is that I'm worried that arc that Eshonai is going through won't really have a lot of impact on Venli's storyline, and I think Venli flashbacks, it's a lot easier to have like the climax of the flashbacks be more impactful to the main story. Like thinking about Kaladin, you always knew Tien was gonna die, and so like you were going through that, and you kind of knew what was happening. Shallan had a lot of mysteries because you didn't know that Shallan killed her dad and stuff. With Dalinar, there were lots of mysteries, and that was very important for the main plot. And I just worry that Eshonai, I mean, I don't love Eshonai. Like, she's fine. Like, maybe if she lived longer, I would care more, but it's like, she's fine.
Yeah. I think, like, additionally, like, as much as I like Eshonai, she is not a fundamentally different character type than we have seen in Stormlight. She's a loyal soldier. She's very dutiful. She puts the good of her people first. But Venli is a little bit more of an interesting gray area. Like, we've got a lot of straightforward, honorable types in Stormlight already.
I disagree on the point that Eshonai is someone we've had before, because I wasn't like really into Eshonai in Words of Radiance. She was a great viewpoint. I appreciate having it. It was only in the prologue, that I was like, man, I really like this Eshonai character, because she is so different. She's so much more like a carefree soul in the prologue than she is the serious general she is in Words of Radiance.
I agree. So, she is more interesting there.
Yeah. So when I think Eshonai flashbacks, I want to see more of. Well, I was going to say before leading up to that. I wanted that transition. I think will be really interesting. And then you're saying about having like a climax. The climax could be her death. Like the climax of her flashback could be just her like dying.
Yeah,
which is like a great little tragedy. It's a tragedy,
but like
guys.
The flashbacks are not here just to give a character story. There's something that is important to the plot on these.
Oh, there would definitely is, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's tough to say though, until we see what Venli's plot is. You know what I mean?
That is true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it's tough because there are going to be people complaining. It's like, why are we spending so much time with this character? Like, we know she's dead.
Yeah.
Like, why are we like devoting time and like character growth to someone we already know what happens to them?
A constant complaint with the flashbacks is like the flashbacks are boring. Like, a lot of people said that about Dalinar's flashbacks, which might just be because there was a lot of combat, but like Dalinar's flashbacks are the most important of the 3 flashbacks story-wise.
Yeah.
Their impact on the main story is massive.
If you like Kaladin's flashbacks more than Dalinar's flashbacks, it's because you like Kaladin more.
It's because Kaladin's the main character, so obviously his flashbacks are going to be the most important. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so that's a danger with any flashback, and I'm just. I see what you're saying, Ben, and seeing the transition from a carefree soul to, hey, Gavilar died. What do we as a society do about that? And seeing that progression on the Shattered Plains from Eshonai's point of view and her turning into that general, does sound pretty cool, to be honest.
Yeah. But I would have them start much earlier than that. I would literally have them start from like small childhood. Like,
well, I do want to see more of their mom, for sure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see them learning stories, learning histories of their people.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you know.
But if I think about the flashbacks as like, what's happening in the flashback, like action-wise, Venli would be just like doing more, like regardless. And seeing that, I think, would be more interesting to me. But I'm a very plot person. I'm a plot-focused person. I love Dalinar's flashbacks because it had such a massive impact on the main plot. And there were massive mysteries that we didn't know about with Dalinar, so that was great. But like, I just feel like Eshonai's flashbacks really could be too fluffy, and I don't know if I would like that. Even though if like the character progression could be cool, and if they did have an impact on the main plot in the present day, then great, that'd be fine. But maybe Venli would just be a more active protagonist in those flashbacks.
Yeah.
And that just makes for kind of better reading, in my opinion, when characters are doing things.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. And it could be that Eshonai's flashbacks are also a vehicle for like seeing Venli's progression from the outside. Like, that like we can start seeing hints of like the Venli we know in the present. And just like see what were the turning points.
Okay.
But not just handing it to us as like, this is what Venli was thinking at that point in time. It's like, we have to piece it together.
Yeah. I think that'll definitely be an element, like if he goes with that. That seems to, it has to inform, if Eshonai's flashbacks don't inform Venli's character and plot in some way, then they're not relevant, in my opinion.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Which it's kind of similar to Adolin in Oathbringer, where we really didn't get that many viewpoints from him until part 3, I think.
Part 4.
Or part 4.
In Shadesmar, yeah.
And so it's like, we really got to see like how he was dealing with the whole Sidious thing from mostly Shallan's perspective.
Yeah, because
Shallan is misinterpreting things left and right, but like we can pick up on like, oh, this must be what he's feeling right then, because we know.
Yeah, I kind of see it one of two ways. It's very interesting that Brandon would write both of them and put the book more behind, by the way, if writing both.
Well, that was the plan with Oathbringer. He was going to write Dalinar's, Eshonai's, and Seth's.
I don't remember him saying Eshonai's, but I remember Dalinar.
No, he was going to write all 3, but then he wrote Dalinar's like, this is perfect, I'm not going to write the other 2.
Oh, so did he not actually end up writing Zeth's flashback?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
did he not? Okay.
He was just planning to write it. So he probably has them solidly outlined, though.
Probably.
So I think there's probably 2 different scenarios. Either we get Venli's POVs and they're just kind of insufferable because she is being the scheming person, and like maybe that's not fun to read because it's like, wow, you're awful, you know?
Yeah, and kind of selfish and arrogant.
So like that, I think that's the main pitfall of Venli flashbacks, in my opinion. Like, I find Venli very interesting, but constantly reading that before her change of heart that might not be super great. But Eshonai's has the pitfall of not enough's happening, and we don't get as much insight as we should, given, how much word count it is in a Stormlight book.
Yeah, I think some of what you've said, you've kind of won me more towards Eshonai flashbacks, because I think a lot of Venli's character, her early character, is informed by she was the dutiful sister, the responsible one, while Eshonai was off, like, exploring and not doing what she was supposed to. And I kind of think seeing her sort of turn into that more, like, ambitious, like, scheming person sort of from the outside of, watching her get annoyed at Eshonai for always going off and doing other things could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Eshonai, I think, like, she definitely haunts Venli's present day. So there's definitely a case to be made that Eshonai's flashbacks are a good way to show
that's a
her past.
That's true.
Like, yeah, she's just like, she always thinking about it. Yeah.
Seeing what Eshonai is exploring as well could be really cool. Because, like, Venli wasn't doing that. So, like, if there are cool things that Eshonai was finding, that, like...
I mean, the first meeting.
Yeah, we'd get that.
Pretty sure.
The first meeting.
Of Gavilaras.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'd get that... would we get that with Venli?
Venli wouldn't be out scouting.
No, she wouldn't be out scouting.
Okay. All right, you guys, you're winning me over on Eshonai flashbacks. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening here.
Yeah, if there are any cool lost Natanaton cities that are also out there, down to see that.
Yeah, I'm super down. Like, let's explore those.
It's a whole ruined kingdom, so there's got to be other stuff out there. But
oh yeah, because we gotta see the first Gavilar meeting, because that would be crazy. Yeah, that's good stuff. And seeing Gavilar's progression through that would be really cool as well.
Oh yeah. I do want to point out something that occurred to me earlier. We were talking about how whatever the flashbacks are, they have to inform Venli's arc. Apparently, according to the outline, they're going to inform Venli's arc starting in part 3.
Yeah, so maybe we should
so
transition to talking about this, and I'm actually going to go into our Word of Brandon mode as we show this fun and exciting colored spreadsheet here.
Yeah.
Just quick question: is Venli confirmed to be that third arc, or is that just the most common speculation?
No. Sorry. So viewers on screen, on the video, you can see what's going on, and let's just do a quick rundown.
Okay.
Basically, part 1 has it so Brandon says all the characters are together. We're going to talk about what that means and what that could mean. But then after part 1, characters split off into separate locations, basically. And group 1 has 5 characters in it and is the main plot, and that is every single part of the book. Group 2 has 2 characters. Group 3 also has 2 characters, but look where Brandon has the flashbacks. He has the flashbacks starting in part 3. Which is that's what Grace is referring to there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So
it's really hard to see.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't even noticed that.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I think that would personally be kind of weird, but if part 1 has everyone, like, viewpoints from a crap load of people, then, like, maybe Brandon just has to do that? I don't know.
Interesting.
I just thought it was super interesting because a lot can happen in those first 2 parts, and for all we know, that could pick up once Venli has joined the Knights Radiant, and her arc at that point is them learning to
that
trust
is crazy to think about. Holy crap.
So whatever the other flashbacks have to be kind of in parallel to, hey, these humans don't trust me and I need to convince them otherwise, or something like that.
Okay, yeah, because surely Brandon must have a reason for not doing flashbacks until after part 2, right?
That is weird. Huh.
Brandon would only make structural changes, in my opinion, if he had a really good reason to do it, right? Like, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't.
Yeah, like when I first looked at this, like, I got like, oh, like flashback started in part 3, and then group 3 starts getting viewpoints in part 3. That must mean like Venli's in group 3.
No.
But I don't think that's the case.
I think that's the case. But
because the group 3 like has like the least importance.
Yep, that's right.
So it's like I think Venli would be in one of the more important groups because it is
group 1.
partially her book.
I think ostensibly that would be the case, but in my opinion, this book may end with Venli like joining up with our main cast, but I feel like Venli is going to be doing her own thing for like her plot for most of this book, and I see her as being the tertiary one.
I would agree. So how about we just do a quick read on what each of these clusters are doing, okay?
Okay.
So I'm just going to read what Brandon said here. This book, as I've said before, starts with all the characters together, which, by the way, is weird when you think about Venli, because if you start in Urithiru, like, Venli's not there. What?
I don't think that's entirely accurate.
No, it can't be. So then splits into 3 groups of viewpoints, and Brandon said that they're, like, in different locations. The first group is the largest and most involved with 5 viewpoint characters. 2 of these, however, will only have a few viewpoints, and 1 might just appear in other viewpoints, save for an interlude. That kind of reminds me of kind of like how we saw a lot of Adolin in part 1 of Oathbringer, but like we didn't get his viewpoints until later, right? Like he could still be involved, but not get viewpoints. Really, this is the story of 3 characters and forms the core arc of the book. The second viewpoint cluster, which is the one I've now finished, follows 2 characters on a very involved but more narrowly focused plot. The final cluster takes 2 remaining viewpoint characters and touches lightly upon what they are doing without going into quite as much depth as the other 2 groups. And Brandon said like there's interweaving of these and like and that all 3 of these are in separate places. In Stormlight Update 3, Brandon actually said the primary arc had 4 characters, and that the secondary arc had 3, and he clearly moved 1.
That confused me a little bit, actually. I had my predictions based on the earlier one.
Yeah.
He probably moved the one which might not get any POVs.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe let's talk about all the characters start together. Because I think what Brandon must mean is that of our heroes, they start in Urithiru, and then they split off into 3 separate locations. But we're still probably getting Venli stuff.
That is how I'm interpreting it.
That's the only thing that makes sense. Yes?
Just hit me. The book opens with the retaking of Kolinar.
No, that's a massive thing.
No.
Yeah. You wouldn't lose this.
The situation could be a lot different, though. Like, we are going to jump a year. So things will have progressed, probably dramatically in some cases.
I feel like that would be very unsatisfying.
Yes.
Like Kolinar is just magically retaken.
Yeah.
Well, no, it'd be like a big battle. Like, not just like magically retaken. The book opens with like Adolin appearing in the book with like thousands of troops being
The Venli scene we got was in Kolinar, though, I believe.
That's literally my only point of evidence.
Just pre-attack right there. Like
pre-attack right there. First,
the thing is probably like most all of the fused, like the dangerous fused are back. It probably just gets progressively more difficult to take Kolinar. That would be such a massive expedition for our coalition, you know?
Yeah.
To get there because you can't go through the Oath Gate. Like, it really failed hard. And I mean, yeah, if we got the Oath Gate open and our heroes' troops got in, like, maybe we could deal with that. But they also had a lot of Singer troops there as well. Like, that is not going to be easy. And I think it is more interesting, as we've seen in the Lyran point of view, where it's like the Singers have conquered all of Lethkar, basically. And Kolinar, that we see that being the struggle. That's much more interesting to me.
Yeah. My like little like pie in the sky dream is that we'll see some level of like an underground resistance to the Singers in Kolinar. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But that might be it might not be in Stormlight 4.
If only we had a character who could like change what they looked like.
Right? They'd be really
pretend
good
to be
at
a
that
singer.
specific
Oh,
skill
good.
set.
I can't wait to have more of Shallan sneaking around Kolinar. To be fair, probably. But yeah, it worked out great last time. But given that Brandon has read from a Venli point of view, I find it highly unlikely that we wouldn't get Venli until part 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you read that out loud again, I changed my mind. And I feel like if arc 1 is the primary arc of the book and Venli is a flashback character, they have to be in the primary arc.
The Venli has to be in group 1. I refuse to believe anything else,
I can see it in being like an adversarial capacity. I feel like she's not
to start
buddy with them.
Well,
yeah.
You could very much have a thing where, like, Venli is in a similar location as, let's say, Kaladin, because Kaladin's going to Alethkar as well. He, like, goes to Hearthstone later in, like, the Lyran point of view. That's what someone was saying or something. So, like,
I think so.
You could have you could have a really fun group 1 where, like, you get some Venli point of views and being, like, somewhat of an antagonist to Kaladin, and we get to see those viewpoints interweaving, and, like, they're still in the same place, so it feels connected, right? Like, Sereni versus Shrathen feels connected. They're in the same place, but they're antagonists. Like, group, they don't all have to be our heroes going on an adventure together.
That definitely goes into my theory.
Yeah?
Of identities of what these 5 characters are.
I
don't know if we want to start going into our guesses.
So Ben gave us homework and asked us for us to each lay out the characters in group 1, group 2, and group 3 and see what we think is what. And so we're going to go round robin and speculate on that. Ben, even though he gave the homework assignment, did it right now. So...
Yep.
Well,
really
I didn't even write them down.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. So, Ian, why don't we start with you? So, what do you think's group 1? What do you think's group 2? What do you think's group 3? Paint us a picture.
So, group 1 is in Alethkar.
I think that's
Kaladin and Venli.
Yep.
And it also has Adolin as Kaladin's, like, friend and right hand.
Okay.
And then the 2 remaining viewpoint characters that don't get as many viewpoints would be Moash and Relaine. Relaine being the one that might not get any except for an interlude.
Okay. All right.
Because I think Relaine would be a good counterpoint to Venli. And then Moash kind of being a foil to Adolin in terms of Kaladin. Because, like, they were both
his new BFF.
But just, like, seeing how that all interacts.
That's so interesting to hear, Ian.
Group 2, I think, will be Dalinar and Shallan.
Ooh,
and it will be mostly politicking. So I could see it not necessarily being all in one place, but it'd be like traveling to different places, kind of like shoring up the coalition and like trying to recruit more into the coalition. With like Shallan kind of like doing some like espionage on the side. And then group 3, I think, will be Yasna and either Navani or Renarin. I can't quite decide. But like focusing on like the mysteries of Urithiru.
I mean, I definitely think there's an Urithiru and I definitely think there's an Alethkar. Like, I think those are pretty solid.
Yeah.
Okay.
What one of those other ones is doing, I don't know. Ben, what do you think?
So, mine are really bad guesses and not as well thought out.
That's what happens when you procrastinate on your homework, kids.
Yes.
I mean, I literally thought through this like 5 minutes before we started recording.
So, you're just saying you're better then? Is that what?
No. So, my part 1, the 5 characters in Arc 1. Kaladin, because he's the main character.
I mean, we should get more Kaladin in this book. I think that's fair. Yeah.
Shallan, because she's the other main character.
Okay.
Venli, because she's the other main character.
Okay, all right.
And then the 2 lesser ones are Adolin and Renarin, and I think that plot also will be focused on the taking back of Alethkar. Arc 2, the very narrowly focused plot, I have Zeth, and I have Lift.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many characters that it's like, wait, who gets what? Is like Renarin going to get more? Is Navani going to get more? I don't know. Like, these are all possible. Like, holy crap.
I kind of want to revise mine now.
No, we're gonna go around
Brandon said
robin.
he starts out in prison though, so he at least.
That's true. He did say that. Which is really good to say. Zeth starts in prison in this book.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's like brand new. Yeah.
Okay,
Brand
cool.
new, the hot take.
So Zeth and Lift is probably my most well thought out one because
I know there's so many characters to choose from, though. Like you listed a bunch of characters, but we have more viewpoints because Ben hasn't even gotten to like Moash here, right?
I completely forgot. I completely
I know.
forgot about
It's hard.
don't
I
wanna
don't think we're gonna get all of these characters.
Zeth and Lift, I think, will be the narrative focused plot, mainly because I found them incredibly entertaining in Oathbringer, and I just want more of that. I just want Zeth, Lift, Nightblood. I want them going on adventures. I don't care what the adventure is. And that's why it's narratively focused, because it's just them, like, I don't know, finding pancakes or something.
Yeah,
It
that
doesn't
definitely
matter.
fits for Rhythms of War. Yep, that's right.
Yep. And then the last one I have as Dalinar and either Navani/Yasna, because I think that core group will stay at Urithiru, and that's where we're going to get Urithiru information from. And they were politicking, Urithiru mysteries, that's where that will happen, is in there.
Yep. Oh, and there's another thing that Dalinar gets a lot less in this book, more like Words of
that's why I
Radiance
put him in part 3, because
than say book 3 and book 5. There's going to be a lot of Dalinar, so we will get a lot of Dalinar in book 5, and he'll have a big moment because originally Dalinar was going to be book 5, which is crazy to think about. But David, what do you think?
Okay, so I also want to put the qualifier on this that I accidentally made these off of his earlier character things, and so I had to reshuffle at the last minute because now there's different numbers of characters in different places.
I only waited till last night to do my homework.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay, so I 100% agree that like there will be like an Alethkar battle, but I have combined that with Urithiru because I feel like Urithiru is Brandon set up a fast travel system in his world for a reason because he's not interested in people walking around. And so I feel like they're going to be administering the battle pretty effectively from Urithiru, and we'll have some scenes from the front and some scenes from Urithiru, but that will all be one like cast of characters in my mind. For people I have there, I have Kaladin. Venli is like the antagonist opposition. And then the lesson, it's only 4, right? And then
it's 5.
Yasna as queen.
There's 5 in group 1
now.
I forgot Yasna's queen.
Yasna is queen, so I feel like she's got to be there, being queen. And then Dalinar
for
will
the
be the one.
For the Kaladin and Yasna romance.
That's confirmed. Yeah, because they've been getting along so well up till now.
Like,
and then
in a
Dalinar.
year, they could have gotten along fabulously.
Yeah, and I don't mean to. If that's your theory and your ship is your own, and that's cool.
For sure.
And
all
it is
ships
totally
are valid.
It would
That's
be consistent with a lot of romantic comedies. So
to be fair, it would. It's true.
But Dalinar will be there in a lesser capacity, the one who'll get lesser or perhaps no POVs for a period of time. And then I guess I have to pick one more person to go there since it's 5 now.
Who in your mind are the core 3 characters that are in group 1? You're
The core
saying
3?
Kaladin, Venli, and who's the third one?
Well, now I have to decide because I felt like Dalinar and Yasna are both in the background. I would throw probably Adolin if I had to pick. Okay, and so my next 2, these are now kind of just like me, just guessing. So get ready for that.
I mean, we all are.
True, but it's a little less likely. Second arc, Horneater Peaks. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I
think-
like that for a group 2.
Yeah, Brandon's put a lot of I feel like he does a pretty good job of introducing concepts pretty noticeably right before they're about to become important. So like you mentioned Dawn Shard 1 and then Never Again, but he talks about Urithiru a lot in book 1. And then, it's really important for book 2.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been hinting that there's something big going on in the Horneater Peaks. It's weird.
Perpendicularity.
It's related to the unmade. So Shallan is like our unmade person. So she is going to be going there because she is the person who deals with
person.
unmade.
That Shallan is our unmade person is an amazing statement that with Oathbringer is incredible. That
There you
is
go.
hilarious.
Yeah, but I feel like, and they've also talked about the strategic importance of holding the Horn-Eater Peaks as a defense against a Lethkar.
Oh, you're right.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I feel like it'll be Shallan and like maybe Adolin, maybe Renarin, but one of those two, because I feel like they can do some incognito stuff with illusions if Renarin does or does not figure that out. And potentially some members of Bridge 4 along with like Rock, because I feel like he would be going back to Horn-Eater Peaks.
That's really interesting because Brandon has said, the Rock novella basically has to happen before book 4.
That was my question. That's the only thing that weakens my thoughts about it, but I feel like that's a pretty big plot line. If the humans get control of the perpendicularity in a side book, that's a big deal. Yeah, there could be some hinting, there could be some setup, but I feel like we have to have main action there in the books for it to make sense because it's a really important location. And then for my third arc, this is just completely out there. Ash Tome hanging out for the tertiary one. Ash trying to do her best to reawaken Talon. There has to be a little bit of progression. Like he can't just keep doing nothing. Like he got introduced at the end of book 1. At a certain point, he has to do something. And I feel like
he was counted as one of the 10. What more do you want, David?
That's the biggest thing he's done since he walked into Kholinar and dropped his sword and fell over.
And then his sword got stolen.
He caught 2 darts once.
I can't wait for town flashbacks where we get to flashback through those key moments of him not doing anything.
All his flashbacks are just him repeating his speech over.
Like him in the cart ride between Kholinar and the Shattered Plains, just like sitting there with Hoyd talking in the background.
Yeah.
We could find out who has that honor blade. Don't you want to?
Yeah.
It's the most important information.
Grace, what do you think?
That is my prediction.
Okay.
Great.
Arc 1, War in Kholinar. Venli, Kaladin, Moash, main 3. Lirin Rlain as the side 2. Rlain as a spy who has been working in the Lethkar since Oathbringer. Arc 2, Shallan and Adolin, that they're going to go on some side quest to ferret out some secret that the Ghost Bloods and Yasna and everyone wants, and it's also going to be a really cute honeymoon type thing.
Oh yeah,
I completely forgot they were married.
There are a lot of plot lines going on. I'm glad Brandon has a plan. Like there's so many ways things can go.
I haven't decided where they're going yet. I liked David's Horn-Eater Peak theory.
That's a good one. That's solid.
That's really good.
And then third arc, Dalinar's death, Urithiru politicking. We know both of them are going to have most of their main plot in book 5. So I think this is kind of going to be touching on what they're doing, but a lot of setup for what their arcs are going to be then.
You said Dalinar's Seth, and I thought you said Dalinar's death, and I was like,
that's definitely what I heard.
I heard Zeth.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely my bad, but I was like, bold prediction.
Yeah, we're not getting a lot of Dalinar. Zeth actually turns back and kills Dalinar finally.
Like I am sick of you after all.
Those are my
I'm joining Nail. By the way, that's an entire other plot line involved with like Nail
That'd
and
be part
the
of the
Skybreakers.
Zeth Lift pancake, quest.
Oh yeah.
They're just pranking the Skybreakers, like.
Okay, so mine is not fully fleshed out, but here's group 1. We got Kaladin, Venli, right? Lirin. Because here's the thing. We got a Lirin reading, right?
Yeah.
And Brandon has said in this that he has not written interludes yet. So that means, like, Lirin could legit be a POV character in this. That is possible.
But, like, that's kind of like how Navani had POVs in, like, Words of Radiance. Like,
and Way of Kings.
Well, that's true.
I said this we said this before the podcast, but, like, Sen in Way of Kings had one. The chapter 1 was a completely different character who got one chapter, and then we moved on.
See, I have plans for Lirin. I have a solid Lirin idea here. Okay?
I agree, it's possible that he could become a larger character.
It's possible. I mean, I want to see a book with Kaladin and Lirin, like dealing with stuff in Lethkar in a war. That sounds really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Then we also have to have Moash, because Moash is with the singers, so like that makes sense, right?
I keep trying to forget about him.
Yeah, I know, but he's in there, right? I don't know who the fifth one is. Like, I definitely think Moash could be a character who gets few viewpoints except for like interludes, and we just see him from another point of view. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense. We could like see Venli interacting with Moash, but not like see Moash viewpoints, right? I don't know who number 5 is, to be honest.
Join me with R'laine as a spy in a Lethkar.
R'laine is pretty good, but I have
had experience as a spy, and
yeah,
that is true.
So one idea is, so I think other 2 possibilities in group 1 are either Adolin or Szeth. Because first of all, getting Kaladin and Szeth together in a long engagement fighting sounds incredible. Also, if you were the Coalition and you were sending your best fighters to do some fighting in a Lethkar in a book called, tentatively, Rhythms of War, Kaladin, Adolin, and Szeth sound real good and real solid for fighting. So like maybe Lirin is like just occasional viewpoints and like Adolin's there. And maybe we get Kaladin, Adolin, Szeth.
I could definitely see like Kaladin fighting and then talking to Adolin, like cleaning up the aftermath of the war and having that being like a whole thing. Because Lirin's going to be a healer on the back lines in this situation. True. But
so my issue with that is that I don't want Adolin and Shallan to separate again. They just got married at the end of Oathbringer, and we haven't had time to see them as a couple.
But they've had a year.
And we've all seen them together in part 1. But I think that's a valid concern.
We, as the readers, have not seen them, even if there was a year, which I think.
Yeah.
Maybe Vale can go to the Horneater Peaks, and Shallan can stay with Adolin.
Oh no!
On the Shattered Plane.
Boo! We don't need more characters in this list to decide from, David. Group 2, Shallan is group 2, and she is doing ghost bloody crap. I don't know what she's doing, but like ghost bloody stuff. Like maybe she's going to like to find Feverstone Keep or something. I don't know.
Are you stealing the theory I put in our little chat we said that yesterday? Shallan and Adolin ferreting out the secrets of Feverstone.
No, but see, I don't think it needs to be Shallan and Adolin. Like it could be Shallan and Renarin or Shallan and Yasna. Like I think those are pretty solid. Or
I don't think Yasna's going to leave her at Ethereal.
No, I agree with that. She's queen now. She's staying.
I guess that's true. But like, I really like Horneater Peaks, and I think I like Group 2 doing that. Like, I think that's so good. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on there.
It feels like a solid B plot to me.
It could be like Shallan and Rock go to the Horneater Peaks together, and like the novella is getting Rock like ready to start that process. Like you have to do that to get to Rock in a certain place.
True, because he's got to be ready to come back and be king, because that's essentially been hinted that he's going to be the new Atoma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If there's going to be fighting on the Horneater Peaks, Adolin can go there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And so I think Group 3, it's got to be Dalinar is Group 3. I think is so solid.
Yeah. I'm coming around to that.
And Group 3 is Urithiru, but like if that's Urithiru, then like are we not going to get Urithiru lit up in book 4? Like I really wanted that.
Well, it'll happen in the end, I bet. Like I feel like that'll be like the out of the hat moment that they kind of pull in a lot of these, where they're like, "Oh no, things are bad," and then Urithiru works.
Yeah.
Now we're winning.
So like with Dalinar, like Dalinar Yasna seems pretty solid because those would probably both be in Urithiru. Like Dalinar's not going to be on the front lines, right?
Okay, that's.
I am suspicious of any of your outlines that do not include all 5 of the like front 5 in some capacity. Like
the
Szeth
front 5?
Who are the front 5?
So Kaladin, Shallan, Venli, Dalinar, and Szeth, and I think Ian and Eric both didn't include Szeth. Well, you put them in
include Szeth, but I also think it's possible Dalinar Szeth could be Group 3 because like Szeth is like with Dalinar. Like it's like Dalinar Yasna or Dalinar Szeth. Or like Dalinar Navani it also is solid as well.
For the record, now that I remember Szeth exists, I have since revised mine based on comments that have been made.
Yeah.
So that's
in my head.
Yeah, Ian, where have you put Szeth?
So I have made Shallan and Renarin as group 2 going to the Horneater Peaks.
That's a great idea. Let's do that.
It's a great plot. Yeah.
As David said, like Shallan is our unmade gal, and then like Renarin like has Gliss, who is touched by Syanat.
Oh, and grouping them together to...
And she's looking for Syanat.
And like Moloch's going to the Horneater Peaks so we could get like more unmade stuff with Syanat stuff. Oh man, that sounds tight.
No, I think Renarin is going to be working the Oath Gates for all of book 4.
Oh, that'd be so sad.
And then I would put Dalinar and Seth as group 3 because I don't think Seth is going to separate from Dalinar. Like he swore to Dalinar.
And I think there was a thing Brandon said that Szeth has also less of a role in this book.
Yeah,
because that's kind of what I was thinking. Was
more
like
of
in my
interlude
head,
character. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, with Seth being book 5, his character, and he's got to go cleanse the Shin. His arc got pressed pause for book 4. We have to wait until he can go cleanse the Shin. So he'll do some little stuff, but he's not going to experience a large amount of character growth in book 4.
Yeah, I think Dalinar Szeth's a pretty good idea. Can I tell you guys my amazing group 1 Kaladin Lirin plan that I have?
Okay.
Let's
Do it, man.
You are sure.
All right. So we have Kaladin and Lirin. Kaladin is with Lirin in this. And Venli and Moash are like being antagonists to this. And there comes a point where like we get a big battle. And it's kind of like echoing kind of what happened in Kholinar. But this time, it's going to go differently. Because this is going to be the time where Kaladin is, instead of just like freezing up and not being able to do something, this is going to be the time where he's going to make amends. He's going to swear that 4th oath. But what has Lirin always said? Lirin has always said that Kaladin needs to take a step back, like you know. And so there's going to be a point. There's going to be a point, like Batman, where Kaladin needs to like save Lirin or Hasina or something, or Oridon, right? And like, yeah. But see, like Kaladin and Lirin together, they're going to be talking about this, and Kaladin is gonna need to realize that he can't save everyone, as Lirin always said, and he has to let Lirin go, and Lirin dies. But Kaladin gets his plate, and then he saves the day, and it like kind of redeems like what his failure in Kholinar. Boom, done, nailed it.
If that happens, I will be so mad. You can bleep that.
Yeah.
Does Kaladin need to lose a family member for every point in his character point? Because he's only got 2 left after that.
No, he swore the 3rd ideal. I mean, I guess he kind of lost Moash, but you know, that's fine.
I was going to say he almost lost still.
Okay, that's right.
Kaladin's story is killing people so that he can progress. Like,
you know, David, you can't. You either save or you kill, and Kaladin made those choices.
Yeah,
I like this. I'm actually pretty. I like this a lot because like that gives closure to
much, but yeah.
That gives a lot of closure to like Lirin and Kaladin's like philosophical struggle, and like Kaladin's constant struggle of like he puts himself into everything, right? And like he needs to get over that to swear the 4th ideal, which we think is going to be like, hey, you can't protect everyone.
Yeah,
we don't know,
but no, that you can't protect everyone does square very well with what Lirin's been saying since day 1. So
exactly. So that's why I'm like Lirin POV. We're gonna get Kaladin and Lirin stuff, or maybe like it's just occasional POVs, but Lirin is with Kaladin, right? Like, and so he's one of the few viewpoint in those 5. So that's my group 1 Kaladin Lirin story. Boom, nailed it. Oh, by the way, I haven't included Renarin, really, or like what the crap's going on with Nail and the Skybreakers with Odium's forces, which is just insane. There's so many, and I didn't even include Lift. Like, I don't even know. Like, Lift doesn't necessarily need POVs. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I got
she's
the,
a back 5 person. So
Yeah, I think
she'll
it's
be
fine.
around, but like she's not driving.
She
the
could be
plot.
hanging out in Earthiru and like hijinks happen. I don't know. Sure.
yeah. Every time we get a lift POV, I'm like, oh, cool, but I don't really expect it.
Yeah.
Another hanging thread is the missing listeners.
Yeah.
That,
That's why
like,
Relaine
vanished
being in
into
a
the
left car
cat.
is really solid, I think. Like that's pretty good.
But-
That's where I feel like that's where he is, though, is he's with them.
Yeah, that's true.
But like that's, I don't think that's going to connect to the Althkar arc. It's like it's too different. Like those are very far apart.
I could see him and having something to do with Venley. I think Relaine will ultimately end up interacting with Venley in an important way.
I mean, the missing listeners could have walked a left car.
I think they would want to
Actually-
stay hidden.
I'm thinking if you wanted a group of whilst we were talking about this arc between taking a Lethkar, you're going to need singers to help you out. You need singers on your side.
Mm-hmm.
The missing singers are a fantastic group of singers to be that group of singers you need on your side.
Mm-hmm.
They were last seen in the Shattered Plains, which our good guys still own. So they could find them on the Shattered Plains, bring them to Earthero, whack them through the Colon or Earthgate, bish, bash, bosh. You're all good.
Yeah, and I think that Venley's belief of herself as being the last of the singers, it's
Listeners.
important because there are more singers still, or listeners. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry for all of the musically related terms that I'm mixing up here, but she's not the last listener, and I think it's important. Like her realization that she is not the last listener is going to be important.
Yeah.
So I kind of have an idea with the characters. I said how I think the Alethkar interactions will go.
Okay.
I think Kaladin will be with Liren, kind of trying to bring up like a human resistance among the people. He's going to form his new squad, whatever.
Of the space whales? No, that's book 5. Of course, I'm sorry.
And Liren will be with him, and we'll see the few viewpoints he has, sort of the same events, but from the perspective of someone who doesn't like fighting, but kind of maybe this is necessary at this point of time. We're going to have Venley trying to kind of subvert some of the singers to maybe not believe what the Fused are saying.
Yeah.
And Relaine is going to be in a Lethkar as a spy, one of those singers. That's how that's going to interact. Because he's going to listen to what Venley's saying. And maybe even that's how the missing listeners will come up, with if he interacts with her and tells her. And then Moash will be like the one point of view in this that is firmly with the singers and the Fused and is on their side.
Yeah, Moash seems he's made his choices.
I have a small question.
Yes.
Do you think Venley would recognize Relaine on sight?
I don't know how close they were.
I don't think so.
I think Relaine would recognize Venley on sight.
I think he's going to recognize her. I don't think they were close. He was a spy in the war camps.
Yeah.
She was a scholar.
But like, how many listeners were there?
That's my thing, is that it was a very small community. I mean, it was a city.
I mean, it was a
enough
city.
to have
They did
thousands of
marshal a
soldiers.
lot of forces, though.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
well, like she might not know like him personally, but like, would she recognize him? Like, wait, I know you.
I
It's
feel
like those like guys that you went to high school with, but it's like never interacted with.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think he could be familiar with, like, she might like eventually realize, but like there are people that you see in your life day to day that you don't recognize when you're around. People change over time. So I feel like if they didn't have a super strong connection and it's also been 5 years since they've seen each other, she might not
been
recognize him.
And also, you could also get like some Relaine stuff in the flashbacks as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's super easy to slot in here, because it wouldn't exactly be a hole, because we have never had any reason to have Relaine and Venley talk, but like there could be some relationship there. Like we have absolutely no idea, really.
Yeah.
There could be a lot of interesting things with those flashbacks with that. Oh, that's why you don't get flashbacks till part 3, because Venley and Relaine don't meet until the end of part 2. Easy, done,
There you go.
done, nailed it. I believe that.
I was thinking about what could happen, and like that could cause them. And I was thinking the catalyst of Venley learning she's not the last singer could be an interesting catalyst to start getting those
her
flashbacks.
remembering Her flashbacks.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually really like that. That's really good. Oh,
Hmm.
a lot
Do you
can
think we'll
happen in
find
2
out?
parts.
That Venli has some sort of obscure form of memory loss, and that it will gradually come back to her over the course of this.
See, you know, with Venli, we also have to have her hide from the fused, being a surge binder, which is crazy in and of itself. You know, like there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So we're pretty solid with group 1 being Alethkar stuff, right?
Yes.
And group 3 is probably Urithiru stuff with Dalnar and a friend. I think that's pretty solid. Kaladin and a +1, +2, and Venli and Moash being group 1, I think is solid. Like maybe, Grace, maybe what happened was Shallan and Adolin originally went together in group 2, but then Brandon decided that was not necessary and moved Adolin to group 1 or something. Like,
Maybe.
I want to see Shallan and Adolin's relationship progress, but we can also get that in part 1, and then, like, stuff happens. And that's possible. Oh.
Now that he said it, I like the idea of Shallan, Adolin, and, like, a group of Bridgemen and Shallan squires going to the Horneater Peaks, because we do have Adolin having some rapport with the Bridgemen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that
We
could be
like,
interesting
have
if,
Tef
like,
with that.
maybe.
Good old
And
Tef.
I think it could be interesting with, like, we think the main battle is going to be in Alethkar, but a lot of that is the subterfuge, and the Horneater Peaks is where we get, like, fighting between, like, Windrunner, Bridgeman, Adolin with his shard blade.
But I think that's treading ground that was tread in Oathbreaker, where, like, the idea was that, like, where's the big battle? Like, probably Kholinar, because that's like, we have to retake Kholinar. But it ended up being Thaylen City instead. So it's like having that happen again.
Yeah. So, like, it being in Horneater Peaks, like a big battle there, like, does sound really cool, especially around the perpendicularity. I bet that's a massive strategic importance for Odium's forces.
Yeah. And also, like, the main campaign theater being Alethkar could be an easy way for them to be drawing attention off of the Horneater Peaks as a spot they want. Like, you know, it'd be easy to have, like, a small strike team going there while the enemy's attention is focused primarily on the battle for Kholinar.
Yeah, there'll definitely be a big battle at some point. Like, even
And
though
in-
this is
in
not going
Rhythms
to
of
be
War.
like, even though it's more of a book 1 style thing and not like a big climactic ending like Words of Radiance and Oathbringer. Book 1 had the Battle of the Tower. That was a big deal. There was a lot of fighting in that book.
Yeah.
That battle might be, like, my favorite on rereads.
Battle of the
There's a
Tower.
lot of emotions going on.
I love rereading the Battle of the Tower.
I do like rereading. Honestly, all the endings are just Brandon endings are really great to reread, in my opinion. I really like Horneater Peaks, David. That is solid stuff here.
I just want to see it so bad. It's got the Shadesmar stuff, and it's got perpendicularity stuff, and it's got unmade stuff.
The only issue I have with that is that I really want to see Shallan doing ghost bloody things, and, like, because that was so underdone in Oathbringer that, like, having Shallan go on a mission that isn't that, it would be a disappointment. Oh, you have an idea, Ian.
Let me say this. Ghostbloods are a world-hopping organization. They have to get on and off planet somehow.
You're not going through Odium's perpendicularity or, like, your honors. You got to go through cultivations.
Yeah, so there might be, like, an enclave of the Ghostbloods in the Horneater Peaks, just like as like a staging ground for, like, people going in, people coming out.
Oh, yeah, sure. You're totally right.
So what you're saying is, for the 3rd book in a row, Mraize is going to be like, Shallan, this thing you're doing, turns out I want you to do it anyway. Mraize is like, I found the best. She keeps doing what I wanted to do. Why did we even recruit her? We could have just let her go and do what she wants, and she'll do all our stuff for us anyway.
I know. I feel like they've really strongly set up for the day when Mraize is going to ask her to do something that she is not willing to do, and that will be that'll be interesting. But it's working out so far.
He's working out really well for him, too.
could be something like the end of part 1, Maurice tells her he wants her to, he wants the Horneater Peak secured, and then she has to convince Dalinar that it's a good idea strategically to send a team there.
That's a good Gray thing too, because it's kind of, it's not it's not necessarily a bad idea, but she's advocating for other reasons than good reasons.
Well, he's already asked her to search for Siana. What if she gets reports that Siana is in the Horneater Peak?
Yeah, and the fact that Moloch is there, in my head, they don't know a lot about the Unmade, so I could see them chasing after just any Unmade they know anything about, and using that as a way to try to figure out where some other ones might be.
So I was looking at what Josh he posted a thread outlining this, and his theory was Group 3 Dalinar Yasna, so Urithiru stuff. And then he had Group 1, Kaladin, Venli, Zeth, Adolin, Moash. Okay, fine. And for some reason, I've read this, and I even read it last night, where he's like, oh, Group 2 is going to be Shallan and Renarin, and they're going to go to the Horneater Peaks. I knew this, but still, I forgot it. And so when David said Horneater Peaks, I was like, damn, I'm in.
Wait, who posted this?
Jaffa.
Oh, you said Josh, and I was like, I do not see a lot of theorizing out of Josh nowadays.
Jaffa. No. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Too many Joshes. So, yeah, I don't know. I think these are 3 really solid things. It's hard to get every character down, but I think these main 3 are 3 distinct locations that make a lot of sense to be relevant.
Put in the comments below what you think the 3 groups are.
Yes.
And what your plot lines.
You're totally stupid.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for us to be completely wrong.
I mean, Oathbringer had a few curveballs with Odium just showing up at the end of part 2, and maybe something weird happens at the end of part 2 of this, and then we get flashbacks, and...
But
Kelsier just shows up.
Bleh. That's her sound. Bleh.
yeah.
Kelsier's here. Yeah, and there's so many crazy things that can happen. So, it's really interesting how Group 2, its ending's part 4, and Group 3's ending is part 5. And it's also interesting how Group 3 isn't labeled in part 1, but I feel like that must be kind of a mistake, right?
What do you mean?
Look at the spreadsheet that Brandon has.
Well, I think they might not get viewpoints in part 1. They're around.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's
all right,
great.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Still don't understand how Venli's grouped as together with everyone else, but I think it's got to just be the heroes are all together before they split.
So, all that means is when he says they're in the same place, they're all on Roshar.
No. You know where they all are? Everyone's connected in the spiritual realm. Easy. But
as for Group 2, their climax being in part 4, this is more of a Way of Kings plot structure. So it's not everything is being tied up in one big event. So it's
that's true. Yeah,
their plot just wraps up then.
Yeah.
They're not building off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like this is just me spitballing. I don't want to not to be a bummer, but I do feel like if there's another book people aren't going to like, I feel like book 4 would be an easy place for it to slow down a little bit and be a little less exciting because we're going back to people being in different spots. And we're being back to just kind of less of everything being tied together in the end and a big climax.
Yeah.
I mean,
but still good.
I mean, there are definitely quite a few people who didn't like Oathbringer who thought the plot was weak, which is weird to me because I thought the plot was the strongest part of the book. It is important for Brandon to, deal with different plot structures because if you tried to up the Battle of Thalen Field every book, you just can't do that. And
for pacing reasons, it's kind of my thought. You have to take a pause sometime in your larger structure.
And there's so much happening that it makes sense for characters to split up. And so maybe he just realized, hey, characters need to split up. So, this sort of plot structure makes more sense, and we can do this rather than a really big climactic battle, because we're gonna have a massive climactic battle in book 5, and then
Maybe.
who knows what's gonna happen.
Maybe.
The world will explode.
Brandon did say that the book 5 would have more of a book 2-3 style ending.
Oh no, I'm joking. I'm sure there'll be one battle in book 5 for.
Oh yeah. Just a few. Yeah, right.
No battles whatsoever. It's just a duel between the champions. Is the only higher book 5.
It's just 150,000 words of just like Dalinar and some other person, Moash, smashing swords together.
Nobody's watching. Just like
Yeah, no one's watching.
A duel of champions really sounds like a Song of Ice and Fire book title. A duel of champions, but it's like, wait, that's not where we are. Any other thoughts on these? We got 3 arcs. Easy.
Just that Brandon spelled completion wrong on this little chart.
Well, guys,
he has people.
Guys. Brandon doesn't know how to spell, and even in like Shadows of Self and Bands of Morning, he wrote silver instead of tin. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah,
but that's a thing that Brandon still does,
because it was originally silver. But like completion, really.
Brandon's
just never
really
told
bad
him.
at spelling. He's not very good. He's gotten better, but he's not very good. And his capitalization on Reddit posts is crazy. Don't even think about that. Like, he capitalizes listeners. I swear if he says that listeners is the species name like he did several things ago, I'm gonna flip out so hard. But
Yeah. And
he's not perfect, but he's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
There is definitely stuff that's gonna be going on in the book that we haven't talked about, that we even we know there's a new Dustbringer in this book.
That's true.
Just stuff like that. So
Yeah, see, Renarin doesn't need to be chauffeuring people because we'll just get random new radiants that happened in between book 3 and 4. Yes, Ben?
If the second arc is around the Hornida Peaks, then do you know who else can turn up?
Oh,
Vivenna.
Yeah, that's another dimension that is like, when are we gonna see Vivenna, Zahel, Nightblood stuff? When is that gonna pay off? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a whole other aspect.
and we know that Taravangian sent at least one agent of the diagram to the peaks.
Oh my God,
Joe Shore.
I completely forgot about Taravangian.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole Taravangian part here.
So glad I'm not writing these books.
I know. This is like stressful just to think about where all the pieces can go. He sent Joe Shore, the head of the Silent Gatherers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's Rashar has no lack of secret groups just skulking around various
And apparently
locations.
Nail and Kalak just fraternizing with Sons of Honor, because that makes sense.
I wonder if that's funny for them, if they're just like kind of giggling to themselves as they're like, we got to get these heralds, and they're like, yeah.
That you're like, oh yeah, good luck with that.
They'll
Gave
definitely
up
help
our-
you.
Yeah.
The headline: Missing woman joins search for self.
Shallan is our unmade person. That's my favorite line out
I
of this
stand by
show.
that.
I think it's very accurate. I stand by it too. Well, we got this reading at DragonCon, and presumably we're gonna have DragonCon Words of Brandon, and so that'll happen soon. We also recorded a Who's That Cosmere character episode, which will be out sometime when news stops happening. It'll be up, and I do just want to let you know, if you're an audio listener, that Shardcast is going on a every other week schedule, as you no doubt have maybe realized, because editing these takes a long time, and I'm at time and a half overtime, and I'm gonna be moving next month. It's gonna be great.
Ben's going to be editing a bunch next month. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, imagine recording every weekend, and I'm like, wow, I don't have time. But when books come out, like maybe before Stormlight 4, we're going to have more weekly podcasts. Definitely when Stormlight 4 comes out, we're going to have some weekly podcasts for a while. And hopefully I will be less busy, and we will deal with workload better. and that'll be good. So, we hope you guys enjoyed this, and you know what time it is? It's time for Who's That Cosmere Character?
This character is from Roshar.
Menace. Tien.
Tom.
Raise.
Void in drag on a horse.
It's time for Who's That Cosmere Character? Caw.
So, welcome to Who's That Cosmic Character? This is the game show where you guys send in 5 clues to wtcc at 70shard.com.
And a character.
And you also send in a character as well. Not send in the character. And then we then read out the 5 clues, and these guys try to guess who it is. And
Great.
if they don't, they suck. And if they do, they win.
Don't worry, Ian's here. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not infallible.
Oh, I'm so
that's-
glad you're so humble.
Clue number 1. This character is an elderly man.
Taravangian.
It's not Taravangian.
Thank God.
What does it mean to be elderly?
I love how we could do an entire new intro where it's like, what does it mean to be a friend? What does it mean to be
Because, like,
elderly? What does it mean to be
Vasher is
married?
way older than Taravangian, but I wouldn't call him elderly.
Yeah, he's already
Well, then
dead.
don't guess him then.
And yeah.
I'm not guessing. He's not my guess. I'm going to guess Menace.
It's not Menace. I'm surprised Eric didn't go
Wow.
for that one immediately.
I know.
Wow. Who's old in the Cosmere?
I've got an idea.
Are you gonna guess it?
Well, it seems like it's Eric's turn, so I'm just taunting him that he can't think of something.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking. I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Just say it whenever.
Yeah, just say it whenever.
It's not
Oh, okay,
turns.
I'm just joking. Gautona. Is that
It's
his name?
not Gawatona.
Okay,
I know
that
you
was
meant-
going to be my next guess, so thank you.
That was also my next guess.
Oh, okay.
We're going great, guys.
I'm gonna guess Yeden. No, he's not old. He's not.
I
Well-
wrote Gayatona's wiki article.
Well, you said the words, so
I did.
You
That's
said
fine.
Eden. It's not Eden.
That's fine.
Clue number 2. This person saves the life of the main character of the story they are in.
How do you save someone?
What does it mean to be saved?
What is a main character?
What is a main character?
Who saved Kaladin?
Yeah, is Dalinar considered like what was clue 1 again? An elderly man?
Elderly man and
Okay,
saves
we
the
would
main
not-
character.
We would not say that Dalinar is an elderly man.
No,
I
you
think we
can't
would all
fight
agree.
in, like, actively fight in combat and be like, oh, he's pretty elderly.
he's also only in his 50s, so
Yeah, he's not elderly.
not really that old.
He has a tight butt, as we've learned.
Yeah, good type, but
Wait, did they say elderly or elderly man?
elderly man
Oh,
and
okay.
saves the main character, the life of the main character of the story that they are in.
I was going to guess all mother, but I don't know if she saved anyone's life. There's not many old people, I feel like.
I
in
know,
Brandon's
that's
books
the
now.
thing. I'm like
Underrepresented.
This is a demographic Brandon's missing out on. Elderly men.
Passing is an option.
Are we all going to pass? Can no one think of a
No.
single candidate?
Yeah, this is
That's
the
the
longest
thing.
fight.
Surprisingly hard.
Yeah. I'm like going like minor now. I'm like, is there any short stories with
I'm
old
trying
men
to think
in
of
them?
like something
Yeah,
like
that's
in
what
Era
I've been
2.
doing.
If there's like old men in Era 2 who save like right?
Is it okay? I'm gonna make a guess just so I have a guess. Could it be Constable Aradel because he retired and he probably saved someone at some point?
It is not Constable
I don't think
Aradel.
he's elderly. That's the thing.
He retired, so I'm gonna call that elderly. I have to think of something, Eric. It's better than sitting in silence.
I mean, I don't have a guess, so I mean, who am I to criticize? You know,
You could guess Vasher.
I'm gonna guess Vasher.
I'm going to guess Father O'Mine.
It's not Father of Mine.
Oh,
Okay.
that's actually pretty good.
I don't know whose life he saved, but
no. It's save in the
he's
religious
old.
sense.
Yeah, he talked to Serena.
that's true.
It's just really not that many really old people that you'd say is elderly.
Yeah, I feel like this will click in pretty quick once, like, there'll be a clue and I'll just be like, oh.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because like there's a lot of old people who you wouldn't call elderly. Stupid immortality.
Yeah, I know.
Everlasting
Like
youth.
honor, audio.
Honor is
Any-
providing all their powers that keep them alive constantly. So.
Come on, Grace.
Vasher.
No, that's who I guess.
Eric already guessed
Oh, wait,
Vasher.
he did. I wasn't paying attention, I guess. Denth.
But that's still
It's
your
not-
guess.
Oh.
It's not Denth either.
Okay.
Clue number 3. This person is an idiot. A self-proclaimed idiot. Is how it's written.
Are we talking about Jezrien?
We're not talking about Jezrien. Wait. Was that your guess?
That's my guess. That's my guess.
Okay, yeah, it's not Jezrien.
Yeah.
I was like, wait.
I was like, he's Ahu. Like, did he save anyone? No. Like, he kind of drank with Dalinar one time.
It's not Hoyd, is it?
It's not Hoyd.
Okay.
That's a good guess, though.
Wait,
Is it that painter who taught Shai how to paint, who I can't remember the name of?
Oh,
I know
not
his
the
name.
painter.
Oh,
Han Zhu-Zen.
Yeah. I mean,
It's not the painter.
Grace would still get the point if she.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking maybe because, like, I don't know, the Empire, he thought he was an idiot for something. I don't know.
Oh, he's an idiot. I like literally forgot what this clue
Oh, wait,
was. And I was
doesn't
like,
save anyone's life either, does
Yeah.
he? Oh, well.
He saves Shai's life by teaching her how to paint so well so she can pull off her heist.
easy. So this clue was
Waiting
just
on-
this character is an idiot.
Is a self-proclaimed idiot.
Self-proclaimed idiot.
Arklo.
It is not Arklo.
Okay. He is
Clue
the
number
form of
4.
an elderly man.
This character tends horses.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah?
I don't.
If you can describe them well enough.
Yeah.
I can. And I got a guess on the name. Can I? Oh, let's go. His
Yeah,
name is like
go-
either
do both.
Dob or Dodd, and he is the stable master for Silence Montaigne's and like farm. And he helps. At the end, she thinks he has like no idea who she is, and he's like, "Yeah, you're the White Fox. I'm a fool. I'm an idiot, but I'm not a fool, ma'am." And like walks away.
Yeah, it is Dob.
Wow.
You got the name right and everything. Yeah, it's Dob.
I wrote that page. So
Oh, nice.
I definitely didn't remember that character was existed.
No.
Yeah.
that was a good one. That was a
that
really
was
good
good.
one.
I was
it's
really
hard.
worried that because they're not a huge role, I was like, do I go for it? But I went for
No,
it.
no,
You go
David's
for
here
it.
to save us.
Yeah, and then clue number 5 was this person's from Threnody, so that would have given it. That was
Yeah.
sent in by Fire Rust, by the way.
Oh,
That was a
great.
good one.
Great.
Yeah,
great,
very
great.
good one. This one was sent in by Gavin Morrison, who is a very regular. Who's the
Okay,
Cosmic
all right, Gavin.
This
High
one,
standards.
There's a story behind this one. He
Okay.
got bored at work, and so he sent it via his work email with his signature and everything. So I now know where he works, what his job is. I've got his phone number. Thanks,
Wow.
Gavin.
I'm still bitter about that sibling one.
that.
I remember.
Okay. Right. Clue number 1. This character has had not very noble motivations in the past.
Oh man, Gavin, you're gonna get clues on the screen that are saying this is a long clue if the wording matters that much. Or highly paraphrased.
I'm trying to think like most of Brandon's cast of characters. Let's say Kelsier.
Venley.
It's not Kelsier. It's not Venley.
Dalinar.
It's not Dalinar.
Odium.
Still doesn't have very good motivations, but
It's in the past and the present, really.
I swear to God, if Ian gets this on clue 1, I'm going to be shocked.
Can I get the
question.
clue again, please?
This character has had not very noble motivations in the past.
you can always guess Menace. It's always on the table.
Huh.
Menace has probably done something menacing in his life before. You know?
Menace is always on the table, am I right?
And I totally wasn't paying attention, so I only know like what 2 of you picked.
It was Kelsier.
Dalinar and
I can't remember
Venley.
either.
Dalinar and
Venley
Venley.
and
Yeah.
Dalinar.
Okay.
I like the Kelsier guess because, not very noble. He wanted to kill the nobles.
Hey. Hey.
I'm gonna guess. I think he's a Baron Ahane
Ooh,
from Elaine
It's a good
Triss.
guess.
It is not that person who
Okay.
You
just
don't
said.
remember? Yeah.
Or as I call him, Ahan.
Yeah, me too. Ahan. He gets really screwed over in the course of Elantris due to economic reasons and stuff.
Yeah, they think he's a traitor, and then he just runs away, and it's not important.
Yeah.
No, that
Oh, or is it the other one?
that is the traitor.
Oh, is he the traitor? Okay. Well, Maybe I haven't read Elantris in over 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Right, you're going to love clue number 2. There's so much interpretation. This character is not a purebred Alethi.
Oh, God. So most of the Cosmere, then.
So the vast majority of the Cosmere, yeah.
Can we assume that they have Alethi blood, or is that, I guess...
A valid interpretation is that they are
Screw
Alethi,
you,
that's
Ben.
not pure blood.
Screw you, Ben.
I guess we only live...
I'm going to guess Adolin because he kills
not.
Sidious.
Why?
It's not Adolin,
Hmm.
but good guess.
No.
See, I'm thinking of characters, but I don't know if they're pure blood Alethi or pure Alethi blood.
What's their hair color?
I don't remember.
What about Dooney or Dunny, Kaladin's like friend on the bridge cruise who has violet eyes?
It is not Dunny,
Okay.
but I do like a good Dunny.
I'm just going to go with Renarin just to get it out of the way.
It is not Renarin.
When was he ever not
I know.
noble?
I understand that, Ian. Yeah, I know. I was thinking
I'm
Adolin,
very
and you know
angry
what?
with you at this point.
If you can't get all of the clues to work, just get some of them to work. And
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly. I needed a guess, okay?
I don't remember this character's hair color, but I'm gonna guess it anyways because Danlan?
It is not Tanalan.
Oh, Dan. No.
Dan.
Dan Lan.
Oh my god. Who's Tanalan?
She is not pure Alethi, by the way. She does
What?
have multicolored hair.
Oh, she is Adolin's girlfriend who was a member of the diagram, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Cool. It is also
Dama
not.
Maracuthian, I believe.
Yep.
Cool. So it is also not Danalan as well. Character number
That's not a
3.
character.
You're gonna love this one.
Dan Lan.
Dude,
Not to be
what is this
confused with
person's name?
Tanlan. Danlan.
Danlan.
That's what I said. Danalan.
No.
No.
You're
No.
adding extra A, but it's all good.
Dan
Like, losing my
Lan. It's
mind.
just Dan Lan.
Dan Lan. It
Yes,
is
that's her name.
Mhm.
right.
It's a good thing you don't play this game and you just host
I
it
know.
because, good God, you're gonna go to Hoyd and drag on a horse real quick.
This character now puts their hair up in a tail, as opposed to the more utilitarian appearance that they had in the past.
Is this Laurel?
It is Laurel.
Oh, there you go.
What were her ignoble? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how the first one clue works.
Yeah.
Was it like, I don't know,
Also,
Something to do
Laurel? Laurel? What?
Laurel, yeah.
Laurel?
Laurel.
Sorry,
Laurel.
I spell the name Laura with a U and not Lara. And so I go
I say
with Laurel.
Laurel,
Yeah,
but
me too.
I just don't like how that sounds, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like
okay.
Laurel.
Yeah, what
Clue
are-
number 4 was this character berates another character for damaging something of theirs, and clue number
Okay.
5 is the relationship dynamics between this character and their spouse is largely unknown. I guess Gavin's kind of going for the angle where she might have been into the whole relationship between her and what's his face.
oh,
What do you think? Like, I
not
just
by
don't
number 2,
understand
what's
clue
his
1
name?
on this. That's the thing that I
Yeah.
don't get.
What's
Yeah, I don't get it.
what's number 2 man? What's the guy called that she marries?
Rashon.
Rashon.
That's the
Shoni.
one. I think
Yeah.
maybe he's trying to say that there was something going on there. I don't know.
But like,
Oh,
I
who won?
still don't understand why that would not be noble intention.
Like, that's fine. Like, it was an arranged marriage. That's fine.
Gavin,
It was
leave
kind
a
of weird,
comment
though.
down below. What did you mean by
Kevin,
that
we
clue
know
number
you'll leave a
1?
comment. What do you mean by this?
It was kind of a weird situation, though. It wasn't like he arranged it for her himself to marry her to
Yeah.
him. So that's not like a great situation.
Yeah, but that
I don't know
wasn't
what
like
she-
her
plan had been
motivation
for her
is-
to marry his son.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right.
Right. One second.
I wouldn't
he
say
put his
that
number
that's
in the email,
her-
so I'm just going to call Gavin.
I mean,
Maybe she killed Relir and it wasn't the White Spine, so she could marry Rashon.
Whoa.
she like flirted with Kaladin and then like was rude to him and ignored him once Rashon got there, maybe?
Maybe.
Her dad also died in that time period.
Yeah, I mean,
I also feel like teenagers
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they're inconsistent in behavior.
What? No
Look, I don't care. I
way.
just got it right, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well
No,
done,
you
Grace.
Woo!
Right. Cool.
Ian,
Done.
0 out of 2. Rip.
I mean, it has happened before. Like,
You're losing your lead.
Yeah.
Probably not.
You're just. We should never have brought up that Ian won all the time, because now anytime Ian doesn't win, we just go, look at that, Ian.
Yeah, what are
See,
you
but
doing?
I feel like Ian might have been the first one to bring it up, so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Cool.
Somebody
Anyway.
rewatch all of the episodes of Shardcast to see where my reputation for winning a lot comes from.
Person that's keeping the spreadsheet going. Let us know. Put that on the spreadsheet. How many times
There's
Ian
so
gloats
many
about winning?
episodes. There's over 90 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming up on 100.
Yep. We had to slow it down. That's why we're going bi-weekly. You know, we got to 100 too quick. You know. Yep. All right,
Holy
guys.
number.
Yeah. Very Rosharan. You know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Follow us on 17shard.com for all your news, discussion, theories, and fun that you could ever want. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can leave a review on iTunes. You can support us on Patreon. We'll have some Words of Brandon coming up pretty soon. Sometime soon. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
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 Hi.
Caw!